Hey everyone, this is Clinton Manning, and you're watching Tales by Firelight. A few years ago, I was living in Savannah, Georgia, in the Deep South, and I was studying to become a visual effects artist. I was actually studying at a school, the Savannah College of Art and Design. Savannah at the time was, like in the 70s, it was like a broken down town, like a ghost town. And these people that wanted to start this art school, they bought up all these really old buildings built in the 17 and 1600s. They refurbished them, and now you have this beautiful downtown mecca where artists from all over the world go to learn and train. But while I was there, I learned about why Savannah is considered the most haunted town in America. See, if you were to go there today, you'll find little graveyards and cemeteries all over the place. And they have a really old graveyard downtown that's called the Colonial Park Cemetery. And this cemetery, at the time, when the early settlers came from England, it was used mainly for the rich people, the people who had means and wealth. And all the slaves and the other undesirables, they were buried in a different cemetery, a large cemetery. And they even had mass graves back then. And what happened was, as the town began to grow, they had to build on top of the cemetery where all the slaves were buried. And so it's really common to see. I had a friend actually who did construction in Savannah, and he said that as he was refurbishing these really old homes, they would find skeletons in the walls and hidden in the basements, because people would be digging basements out, and they would find the bones. So the place is incredibly haunted, and it has a lot of bad history as well. I'm not a history scholar, so I'm sure some of you know even more about Savannah than I do. But while I was there, I could feel the tension in the air, especially at night. I made friends with a local while I was there, and he told me this story. And it's a famous one down there. So in Savannah, they have a lot of really old oak trees with Spanish moss that hangs down. And it's all Victorian-style housing. It's very beautiful. So there was a couple that was expecting a brand new baby, and they were just thrilled. Even though they were walking on a cloudy day, maybe it was raining earlier, kind of the kind of day that makes you a bit depressed. Well, this couple was walking through Savannah, and they were passing through the Colonial Cemetery. And they decided to take a stroll right through the cemetery, in the middle of the day. So as they were doing so, if you've ever been there, you'll remember that a lot of the tombs were very old and weathered, very soft, and you can hardly read the names on the tombs. And there's a lot of unclaimed tombs that have been broken. They're along this back wall, this back brick wall. So as they were enjoying their stroll together, the mother-to-be, her name's Catherine, she was so excited thinking about a new baby name. She'd been going through baby names in her head, and just she was in, pregnancy mode, baby mode. And her husband noticed the name. He looked at one of the tombs, and he read the name out loud. And as soon as his wife heard it, she knew that was the perfect name. And for reasons you will find out later, I'm not going to tell you what the name is. But she was so happy to hear this name, and she couldn't stop talking about it. So her husband's like, okay, let's go. We found the name. So some time went by, and they gave birth to a beautiful baby girl. She gave birth to a beautiful baby girl. And they were so thrilled. A short time after, when they had to fill out the request for a birth certificate, she filled in that name, that beautiful name that she loved. But as she penciled it in, she felt kind of queasy and kind of felt even a little sick to her stomach. But she just brushed it off and moved on with her day. So they took their new baby home, and they set up a little crib in the room that they all shared together, and they turned off the lights, and they all went to bed. Around 3 a.m, they were woken because they heard something. And as they looked around in the darkness in the room, just to the right of their bed, they heard the sound of a little girl's voice, very sweetly saying, "Please give me back my name." And when they heard that, the husband was kind of confused. He's like, "Did you hear that?" And then maybe a couple seconds later, they heard it again. "Please give me back my name." Well, Catherine didn't like that sound, so she stood up, turned the light on, and she knew what was going on. She wasn't dumb. And they asked for whatever it was to go away. And it went away. The rest of the night, they didn't hear anything. So the next night, they were sleeping in bed again, and around 3 in the morning, they heard this sweet little voice again. Please give me back my name. And the husband, his name was Jim, he's like, Kathy, we can just change the baby's name. It's not a big deal. But Catherine was stubborn, and she really liked that name. And she looked at him and said, but you can't own a name, can you? So the next night, again they were lying in bed, and a little voice came and said, please give me back my name. And they didn't budge. The stubborn couple just completely ignored it. And they heard it again. Please give me back my name. And for about 5 more nights, they continued to hear a sweet little voice pleading for her name back. But after a few nights, the voice started to change. It became deeper and airy. And when they'd hear it, it sounded more like, give me back my name. And they'd hear it again. Give me back my name. And it didn't stop them. Maybe it's because they're from Savannah. They didn't want to change the name, so they ignored it. On the 10th night, they were sleeping in bed. At this point, the husband had gotten earplugs, and Kathy, she just totally ignored it. But this time it was different. They were laying in bed, and they heard a deep voice coming from down the hallway. Give me back my name! And it woke them both up, and they were startled, and they sat up in their bed. The door was closed towards the hallway, and they just watched in terror. And then they heard it again, and the voice was right at the doorway. Give me back my name! And Jim was like, Kathy, we gotta just change the name. I don't want to deal with this anymore. I'm getting tired of this. And everything went silent. And they were peering through the darkness, looking around the room, when suddenly, directly to the right of her, she heard, give me back my name! So she said, okay, I'll do it. So the next morning, they woke up, and they filled out the paperwork to change their baby's name. And they never heard that voice again. Hey everybody, thanks for watching Tales by Firelight. If you don't want to miss another tale, remember to follow me see first on Facebook, or ring that little bell on YouTube so you can get a reminder. Until next week, have a great weekend.